I know. Hey, everybody, welcome to the Radical Center. My name's Jonathan Langley.
And I'm Jacque Noack.
And I have so much. We haven't seen each other for 2 weeks.
Yes.
Has it been Thanksgiving in between?
It has.
Seriously, I have literally... I went
okay,
through
we're
this
probably
this
not getting to it all. Okay,
No.
this is going to be a 4-hour episode.
This is going to be a 4-hour show. And I do have some great emails, by the way.
Okay.
That I want to read. From one of them's from your namesake. Although she spells Jackie correctly.
My namesake, okay.
Well, her name's Jackie.
Oh, okay.
So Jackie.
And she does it the right way.
Yeah,
yes, I understand.
Everybody doesn't realize Jackie spells it
See if we can get it.
CQE apostrophe.
Jacque accent.
Oh, I say apostrophe. All
I was
right.
going to say accent aigu, but I don't even know.
Is that what you call it? Accent what?
I don't know.
Okay, well,
It
anyways.
goes way back.
It looks great on paper.
Okay.
Although he
fabulous.
pronounces it the same. Did you have a good Thanksgiving?
I did. Nice and small.
Yeah.
Just my
You
two
social
boys,
distanced?
and then one stray came running in
Okay.
of their friends.
Okay.
So we had just my husband, myself, and 3 people,
Okay.
3 guys.
All right. Well, good. So
How about you?
Small Thanksgiving, stuffing and ham this year
Lovely.
instead of turkey.
Okay.
I'm
We
sick,
had
I'm,
both.
I'm sick of turkey.
mean-
I'm sick of turkey. Do you really like turkey?
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
it's
I
fine.
mean-
Actually, it's interesting because my husband and I we've been trying not to eat meat every meal or very much.
That's a good idea.
And so when I said something to him, I said, well, we're just going to have the turkey. There's only 4 of us. And he goes, oh, no, we're having both.
He was determined to have ham
Well,
as well.
it's just the tradition to have the turkey, the ham, the dressing. But we sent it off with all the boys, which worked out great because each of them has 3 or 4 roommates. And
Okay.
we got rid of it.
Okay.
Didn't
that's-
linger long.
All right. Well, I understand how that goes. That was the same with my son. So let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Do you have a good, the bad, and the ugly, or
Guess
not?
what?
Do you?
I have decided that this week I am only doing a good because I just.
Oh, you know what? You want to be
want it-
positive.
Yes.
Very
I want
good.
you to
All
hear
right.
the good
Okay.
and let it sit.
Mhm.
I have lots of other bad things
I have
and
got lots
ugly
of bad-
things
I've
and
got lots of
terrible
that.
things. But
Okay.
I thought, you know what? This week I'm just going to let the good
All
sit
right.
and germinate out there in
Go
the
ahead and do
universe.
it while I throw paper around. Go
Okay,
ahead.
sounds
What's
good.
your good then?
Well, my good was a personal story.
Oh,
and
all
it
right.
happened yesterday
Okay.
at the grocery store that we love at HEB.
HEB is big here in Texas.
Yes, I was
Yes.
out. I had gone to see my brother in South Austin, came back and was just picking up a few things at the grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
I got into the 15 or less items in Express, right?
Yes.
Get up there. There were 15 good items, I guess, because the total was $51.
Wow.
And I got up there and I don't have my credit card. I didn't have my whole, no, I did have my whole purse, but I keep my credit card in my little phone case. And so I can just
in your
like
phone case. Got it,
always
yes.
have my credit card
Yes.
with me. I can't accidentally leave it anywhere because I have it in my phone. And I got up to the register and I'm like pulling out all my cards, and I did have some Starbucks gift cards and
That
like
doesn't
other,
work at HEB.
They will not let you
No,
pay,
no,
strangely enough,
no,
with that.
interestingly
And
not.
so I'm going through, and I literally kind of, I don't even think I said it loud. I kind of mumbled it to myself. I'm like, I don't have my credit card. And there's a lady behind me.
So this is your self-checkout?
No, I was at a register.
At the register. Okay.
And I'm sitting here going, where would I put that in my head? And a lady goes, I'll take care of that. I was like,
You mean someone
What?
else paid for it for you?
well, I go, oh my gosh, I'm looking, let me look, because I did have my wallet, and I open it up and it's not there.
It's Christmas.
And she goes, I got it. And I go, well, I do have some cash. And she goes, okay. And I gave the lady the cash. It was less than $30. I had like 20,
She
and some
probably
change.
thought you were a poor person in the Christmas and
Well,
hoping for a
that
good
that may
Samaritan.
be. And so I just was like, thank you. That was so, I mean, she didn't even hesitate. I couldn't see her because my back's to her, but she just jumped in. She goes, oh, that would be awful to get all the way here or not,
So where was your credit card?
Well, that's the other story.
Yeah.
I had to start going, what? I got out to the car and I started calling places I had been. And I could not figure it out for an hour or so. And I got home and I told my husband to look at our credit card because it's gone, but I don't remember leaving my phone any place that somebody could grab my credit card. And, I go, Chipotle.
Oh, you left it there.
And so I called Chipotle and they go, yes. And then I tell them my name and they go, what are the last 4 digits of
Jacque
your
with
card?
a Q, yes.
And I'm like, I don't. Mark, well, you know, and I had to go get his card, but it was just somebody being very secure.
So had you gone into the restaurant to leave it behind, or were you gone through a drive-through and driven off before they could give it back, which is very unusual?
I went into the restaurant because they didn't actually
have a drive-through.
No,
they don't. I know they sometimes
Well, there is an order pickup window, but I realized, I'm like, that's not a drive-through. So I went into the restaurant and I must have left it in the machine.
Oh, got it.
But that's beside the point. I was a little scattered, right? This lady was so
That is great.
nice.
Whoever you are, did you get her name?
I didn't. I told her my name, and I wasn't going to ask questions. She was just sweet. She was like, I got it.
Well,
no
it's
worries.
so funny.
And I told her, I go, you know what? Thank you so much. I will pay it forward. I promise you. You know, like you did
that's
this
a good
for
way to
me,
do
and
it.
I'm going to take care of this.
Well, you know, it is Christmas, and it does make you feel good about people as opposed to our politicians who lead by example.
It gave me so much hope of humanity.
Well, okay, so I've got one for you, which I
Okay.
wasn't going to bring up, but you've given me one, so now I have to top yours.
Oh, well, do it.
Except it was one that my friend and I did yesterday, funnily enough. So my friend and I went on a bike ride, and which basically killed me. And we try to ride once a week.
Right.
And I think I told you bikes were very hard to get. We now have a bike, and my friend and I go riding. Anyway, long story short, we're in South Austin, south of the river, and we go to these coffee shops because to me, the bike ride is more sociable than just riding. I'm not going to ride 50 miles. I'm not one of those people. And it's a nice bike. It's 29-inch wheels, all that new stuff. And so we're at this outdoor coffee pavilion type thing. There's like those trailers as well, you know, the food trailers. And my friend Ross finds a wallet. And there's no money in it, but there is his credit card or his debit card, his driver's license, HEB card, and a few other odds and ends, but no money, no cash. And his address, I'll abbreviate the story very shortly to short, is not too far as it turned out from where we were. So Ross said I said, we want to hand it into the coffee shop and he'll come and get it. Or he said, well, it's only about half a mile away. Up another hill, I might add.
Just need one more of those.
Yes. And in an apartment complex. So why don't we drop it off? I said, sure. So not to put a too fine a point on it, you ever seen that movie Training Day?
Yeah.
The apartment complex that they go to? One of them?
Refresh my memory.
Well, let's put it like this. It's
not.
you feel you want to be heavily armed with police escort. Mm-hmm. It wasn't that bad. I'm being slightly dramatic, but it was different, and it was huge, and there's all these different buildings, and it had all these steps. You couldn't just get. So anyway, it took us 20 minutes to find his apartment. It wasn't easy because each building had a different number, and we couldn't find it. And then, unsurprising to me, as it turned out, this gentleman's didn't live there anymore.
Oh.
So after all that, but we tried, right? Ross knocked on the door. Some people answered it. They were very nice. And we said, does this fellow live here? And they said, no, they didn't know who he was. So so anyway, we still have his wallet, driver's license, I think credit card or debit card and some other things. But no cash was in it. So I don't know when he lost it. But just to say, we did really try.
Good on you.
It
because
took us 40
my
minutes.
brother just lost his wallet. And if anybody finds it,
his name's not Eugene, is it?
No.
Okay, so I'm not going to give the fellow's last name, but or where it was. But it was that was a major effort. We tried. I mean, once I got into it, I was like, can we just give it to the guys at the coffee shop? And it's like,
Jonathan, you got to follow it through.
Well, we did, though. We did. And once we got to this, I'm not joking. I've never been to an apartment complex like this before. This thing is huge. It's massive. I mean, it's like, I don't know how many, but it's a lot of apartments. And clearly in need of some TLC. There's subsidence. It's like, how do they even have, you go up these stairs, these steps, and the steps have moved 3 feet to the left. It's like, how's that even, Ross even said to me, "Why isn't the city
We're built on a fault.
apparently?"
Yeah.
Anyway, so we did try.
Well, good for
So
you.
so
Good
we
for
did
you.
try, and
Yesterday must have been the day of good
I
deeds.
think it must have been. So I wish we had succeeded.
Yes, hopefully you
But
can
I don't know what Ross is going to do.
eventually get it back.
So all right, so we have lots to talk about. Here's my list.
Okay.
To get to good, bad, and ugly.
Mm-hmm.
450,000 dead by end of March, they think, or April. Less jobs for people. Trump tweeting, "We can say Merry Christmas again," which I find is like, who believes this nonsense that you can't say Merry Christmas, or as we say in England, Happy Christmas?
Oh, do you?
Yes. Well, we
That
say
just
both.
sounds all wrong.
I know it does because people say Happy New Year. I want to ask you some questions. I've got some questions. I want to talk about martial law.
Okay.
Do you know, and I'm going to ask you, I'm going to give you a few minutes to think about it, about something called rotten boroughs. Do you know what a rotten borough is?
No. Do you know what a ghost candidate is? Because I've got a question for you.
Oh, great. We're going to talk about that. But first, I want to do a couple of emails, one from your namesake called Jackie.
Okay.
And then I do want to...
Is she a listener or is she just... What is this?
She's a listener. She wrote
Oh,
to me.
I didn't know if it was a political thing. That's what I was gonna
No. She
Okay.
wrote to me. I had to write her name down. I didn't print the whole thing because I printed out on this paper that's wearing out.
Okay.
She was very good. She says, and I'm not going to read them. She gave me a whole list. The number of times Trump has won the popular vote, 0. Number of times Trump willingly condemned white supremacists, 0. The amount of money Congress granted Trump to build a border wall, $0. The number of times, I'm just picking a few key ones. Number of ill words Trump has spoken, I'm using her sentence. Number of ill words Trump has spoken about Vladimir Putin, 0. Number of times, oh, this is really funny. Number of times she said, "I expect to ever read The Art of the Deal," 0. I thought that was really funny.
Yeah.
Number of times the United States has successfully, this is a great one. It's so much Trump says that we forget about it. Number of times the United States has successfully purchased Greenland. Remember he said he wanted to do that?
Yeah.
Number of times Obamacare replacements, Trump has outlined a replacement for Obamacare. Number of Nobel Prizes Donald Trump has won, 0. And my favorite one at the she's got a whole list. Number of times, number of bullet points in the 2020 Republican Party platform. Remember, there wasn't any.
None.
There was none.
No,
It was
it's
0.
whatever Trump decides.
Yes, exactly. And this is my favorite, first and only de facto illiterate U.S. president.
Wow.
Now, this
Bravo, Jackie. I could not agree.
So this is
more.
from Stephanie. Best loved president the Republicans have ever had. And then she says, wait, no. Rex Tillerson called him a fucking moron. Lindsey Graham called him a jackass. He also went on to say, he's a kook, I think he's crazy, I think he's unfit for office. Mitt Romney said, dishonesty is Trump's hallmark. He is very, very not smart. John Kelly called him an idiot. McMaster called him an idiot and a dope. Gary Cohen called him an idiot surrounded by clowns. Steve Bannon even said he's like an 11-year-old. Jim Mattis said an empty vessel when it comes to the Constitution and the rule of law. Reince Priebus, whatever his name is, called him a complete idiot. And Stephen Munchkin called him a fucking liar. There's a whole bunch of them that she gave me. My point is, it's like, at what point do you sort of wake up and go...
Well, Jonathan, apparently we're not at that point.
Well, you know why? I know why the answer to that. Because remember...
Well, they're excusing his behavior at the moment because of the Georgia runoff.
And because they don't want to go against him because they want to be reelected. People like Ted Cruz. They want to be president one day. Ted Cruz does.
Absurd.
It is. It's pathetic.
Because history is going to look back at these people who just stood by and let...
Yes.
Our democracy tumble down.
Did you see the guy who Donald Trump put in as the head of the DOD in Pentagon? He's another guy that retweeted like Mike Flynn saying we should have martial law. I mean, my God. And the Wall Street Journal said that Mike Flynn was railroaded and Trump was right to pardon him. Not word one from the Wall Street Journal about Mike Flynn retweeting an ad that was put in the Washington Examiner saying Trump should put the troops on the ground and impose martial law.
Wow. See, that is so shocking. And I
didn't know
told
that?
you that. No, I didn't know
Okay.
that.
But I have the answer
told
to
you
why.
that I've been watching The Rise of the Nazis.
Yes, you did.
That is just frighteningly similar.
And the fact that the Wall Street Journal, of all people, I'd looked this up. They wrote 12 op-eds. 12. I'm talking the official op-ed, the Wall Street Journal editorial board page. 12 op-eds around Benghazi and Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
And they've not written one.
There were 13 commissions on that.
Yes, and there's
and not one found any wrongdoing.
No, and they've not. I didn't know that actually 13, and they've not written one about people like Mike Flynn saying we should impose martial law.
Wow.
I mean, isn't that just pathetic? Pathetic. But I know why. You want to hear the answer?
Yes, please do. It has to do with that thing you asked me at the front of the program. You said, "Do I know what
rotten boroughs are?"
Oh no. Okay.
Okay.
Maybe not.
Okay. No, I know why.
Okay.
Well, apparently, everybody wants Trump wrapping paper. Remember, I brought this up last time? But they've sent me 10 emails in the meantime telling me there's only 100 sets left. So I guess they're all worried. But here's what's new. There is a Trump Christmas mug. Seriously, there it is.
It's not even Trumpy enough.
It says...
why would I want it?
It's a
not
limited
Trumpy
edition
enough.
Trump mug. But here's my favorite, because I thought these emails would go away, people asking for money. So Kelly Loeffler's the woman who's running. She's crazy. Here's the email I get. I promise I'll only do one of these, because trust me, you know how many I'm getting a day now from people asking for money?
He's raising a ton of money.
I know, easily 50 to 80 a day. So Kelly Loeffler, I'm just going to read one. Friend, it feels like everyone is against us. That's because it's true. And that's part of what people do, right? They make you sound like you're being persecuted. So who is against Kelly Loeffler? Everybody. The Democratic Party. New York. The whole of New York, apparently. The Hollywood liberal elite.
Those are two triggers that they get, the coasts.
Socialists and Antifa radicals. And the liberal mainstream media. Chuck Schumer. Radical socialists, and the fake media, and the left. That's who.
So the liberal radical media is different than the fake media.
Apparently there's a whole bunch of them, and much of this. Even Ted Cruz sent me one. Said that this is the coordinated left wing. This is all in capitals. Left wing election fraud, which is being exposed. And this is my favorite and this I promised I wouldn't do two, but I am going to have to do this one, because here's what Ted Cruz says. Remember this man that says he's as tough as Texas? Georgian election officials have opened an investigation into groups attempting to register out-of-state voters, even sending applications to liberals in New York City. Yet it was a Republican lawyer in Florida who was caught on video saying, I don't know if you saw this, there's been no proof of any of what was just said, sending a Republican lawyer in Florida explaining to people on video how to register in Georgia, and therefore you can vote in the Georgian...
Like in absentee.
Register an address and then absentee vote. He got busted, then said, I never actually did it, only to find out, yes, he had, because his brother... or a member of his family lives in Georgia, and he had registered at that address so he could vote. Now he's in danger of losing his law license and being prosecuted in Florida. So the only proof of election fraud in Georgia so far is a Republican in Florida saying that you should vote, go and register to vote.
But Jonathan,
isn't that just pathetic?
Part about that is Republicans, even the election officials that Donald Trump is blasting, even the governor, he's blasting Republicans right and left.
Yes, he did it today.
And they still won't come out and say...
No, I know.
They're still saying things like, well, I voted for him, I will continue to support him. Really?
It's pathetic.
When your wife is getting threatening,
yes,
it's just
exactly.
astounding.
It is astounding.
That even with all this, somebody could look you in the face and call you all kinds of liars and cheaters, incompetent, because that's what they're saying is you didn't do your job.
Right, Mr. Governor.
And also
Georgia.
A liar because you're telling me you did, and you're not back. And then you go, well, I still support him. You can't bring yourself to say,
I know. It's sad.
This is absurd, this is ridiculous, and he's insane.
He is insane. I mean, did you see his speech yesterday? He talked about cucumbers. Did you hear about that?
So I went on to.
I didn't watch it, but I read about it
because I wanted to listen to a couple of things this morning.
And you're braver
there
than
was
me,
a
Jackie.
46-minute rant that
the video.
actually they wouldn't. Places like CNN wouldn't keep it online. They're not showing it.
Is this the video
because there
or
were
is
so
this
many
the
lies
speech
in it.
last night?
No, the rally. I did not listen to the rally yet.
Okay.
I didn't get a chance.
Last night was when he said about he got sidetracked and talked about cucumbers. I'm not making this up.
Yeah.
And started going on a topic about cucumbers. Again, I haven't watched it, so don't get mad at me, people. But I read about it because I'm quite capable of reading. I don't need someone else's voice in my head. And saying that he was talking about, does anyone here like cucumbers? I like cucumbers. I'm one of the few. I'm the only person who likes cucumbers. I like cucumbers. I'm telling you, it's like
he finds himself quite unique.
He everything, and meanwhile, I do want to get into really important stuff, which is the economy.
And so we're just going to bypass the fact that there were thousands of people at his
But
rally.
you know what? You and I would have gone, right? Had he been there, I would have gone just to see how nutty he was.
No, not during a pandemic. I am not going to
during a pandemic.
A rally. I would, yes, I would go hear the man speak. I'm not going during a pandemic. I'm not going to be around thousands of unmasked people.
I don't know if they were all unmasked. I don't know.
Well, there were. I saw a picture.
Okay.
I didn't hear the
even think about
speech,
that.
but they were. I saw a lot of people without masks. And how do we keep making exceptions for? Hey, you can't gather in a group of 20.
Yeah.
Yet I can have a rally with 3,000 people.
Because it's Donald Trump. He's the president, and he's not going to say no.
That's why. I mean, it's
so here's the fellow. So Scott O'Grady was the guy. He's Trump's nominee for the top post at the Pentagon. He tweeted a message falsely claiming that President Joe Biden, that falsely said Biden had won in a coup, and then saying that President Trump should declare martial law. This was the guy, by the way. I looked at Scott O'Grady was the one that the movie Behind Enemy Lines was based on.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So he was shot down in Bosnia. But and then as I said, Kelly to come out and he retweeted what Kelly had said basically.
Is he the one with the eye patch?
No.
Okay.
No. But he is a former fighter pilot, and he leads 2020 Veterans for Trump. But why again? So apparently we can have the phrase. I may disagree with what you say, but I'll defend to the death your right to say it. Apparently that doesn't count for some of these people.
Well, what Trump is testing, Jonathan, and I thought about this over the weekend. First, he's testing: are you loyal Americans? Are you loyal Republicans?
Or are you loyal to me?
Are you loyal to me?
Yes, exactly.
And he's finding out that enough people are loyal to him personally that whatever he says, they will believe despite, information to the contrary.
Do you think they believe it? Because I read an interesting thing about people who say they think that something like 60 or 70% of Republicans believe the election was fraudulent.
That seems really high.
I don't believe.
Maybe they think there's some fraud. I don't know.
But a psychologist said
certainly not enough to flip millions of votes.
Well, this psychologist said they say it, but deep down they don't believe it. It's almost like they say it out loud because it's like a loyalty pledge, but they actually really don't believe it.
But you're saying, that's quite
scary.
an assumption by the psychologist.
That's what she said.
I have, since we're on the subject,
Yes.
Jonathan.
Yes.
I have what I will call the quote of the week.
Oh,
okay?
great. Okay.
Okay. Maybe it's a new thing we do every week. This is the
quote of the week. Okay.
And you can guess who said it.
Okay. Oh, that's okay. Go ahead.
And I have to say, if I lost, I'd be a very gracious loser.
Oh, I know who said that. I actually know who said it. Donald Trump said it.
Well, very good.
Yeah,
I'd been shocked if you had known.
Basically what he's saying is, if I'd really lost, which I hadn't, I would have been the first to congratulate Joe Biden.
Exactly.
Even though he got a record number of votes ever cast in the United States.
But so did Donald. That's what he likes to remind us.
Of course he does. So I have a question for you. I do want to talk. I have enough election fraud. I do want to talk about, and I get really sick of this, because we are, for everybody's benefit, working on our own, and it's a long shot, but we'll get there, news radio station, and maybe television. And let me tell you why. I'm tired of people, even on CNN, you know who Jake Tapper is, right?
Yes.
So this morning on the State of the Union, I think that's what he's called. I unfortunately didn't print correctly, so I'm trying to read it. He said that I'm tired of even people. Let me rephrase this. Everybody on CNN, or not everybody, but most people on MSNBC and certainly Fox has an opinion about something,
Right.
and it makes the headlines. CNN's Tapper calls out the GOP for enabling Trump in post-election support, like you were just saying. Do you not know who this man is? That's basically what he's saying. Why is it that a news talking head, what he says, whether it's Hannity,
Makes the headline.
makes the headlines? It's pathetic. I find that we need to get back to a stage where the news is the news, and I can make my own mind up. I don't need people like Tapper telling me what I need to think.
But apparently you do.
Let alone him telling me, making a headline.
Maybe he's not telling you, Jonathan. Maybe he's talking to the Republicans, saying
He is talking to the Republicans.
And I think
But
every ABC, NBC, CBS. Why
here
aren't
it
they
is.
talking to the Republicans? In my opinion,
What I'm
they
saying
need
is,
to call people by name, call them out, and say, "Hey,
Ted
you,
Cruz. Yeah.
Ted Cruz,
Yeah.
what information do you have?"
yeah, you're a senator.
Yeah.
Why don't you go tell us where the proof is that it was over there?
Exactly.
Yeah,
If you're going to say it,
Yeah.
you need to back that up.
But again, what I'm saying, I guess my point is, why is it what
Yes,
Tapper
I get
says
what
even
you're
make
saying.
the news?
Right.
It shouldn't
Right.
be what he says.
Because nobody else is saying it, and that's the only way they can make it a headline.
Okay, so I found the article. Most Republicans say they doubt the election. How many really mean it? And she goes on to say that you should basically take all this with skepticism, because even though even though a majority of Republicans believe it was stolen or is fraudulent in some way, it's just basically a way of, it's tribalism, and they don't really mean it.
Well, Jonathan, I think that it will. I don't buy it. I say people tell you who they are.
Really?
You need to believe them.
Really?
Yes,
so,
I do.
because I know quite a few people who voted Republican, and I think they're really decent people.
Doesn't mean they're not decent people.
I haven't actually.
I don't believe that 70% of Republicans believe the election was stolen.
Okay, all right. fair enough.
Does she? I mean, does she have stats and polling?
You're asking me to read into the
And,
list
and
now.
and honestly, the longer this goes up, maybe the numbers are increasing. But I know immediately after the election, it was between 20 and 30%. That is quite a dramatic hike.
Yes. But again, it takes leadership, right? So, for example, if Ted Cruz, hypothetically, I'm just picking on Ted Cruz because he's such a weasel.
It could be John Cornyn.
It could be Cornyn. It could be
they're all-
Marco Rubio.
Right.
All it takes is one of them to stand up and say, make a speech, make a press conference.
Well, Bill Barr did ish.
Make a press conference that says, we need to move on from this. Joe Biden is the president-elect. Donald Trump lost. If he wants to run in 2024 and gets the nomination, I will support the president. I'll report Trump, and I will do my best to make sure he beats whoever the Democratic nominee is. I mean,
But they will not do it.
They won't do
after the Georgia election.
I don't think they'll do it even then.
I don't think so either.
So
they'll do whatever Jonathan.
So what else is on your
Donald
list
tells
here?
them.
What else is on your list? Because I have some other things I want to talk about, things that affect real people.
Okay. Well, do you want to go down that road? No.
Yes, I do. Go ahead. What have you got on your list?
No, I was just going to ask you if you know what a ghost candidate is.
Oh.
Had you heard?
Oh, a ghost
I
candidate.
woke to a text Saturday morning from a friend with an article about ghost candidates, and I was like, what?
So a ghost candidate is, the only thing I can think off the top of my head, I haven't heard of it, is someone who's running for office that isn't a real person.
Yeah.
But how do you do it?
Okay, well,
how
I'm
does
going to
that work?
explain it. So in the state of Florida, this was investigated, and this is according to CNN. They did this particular investigation.
Okay.
They say it perhaps has happened at least 3 times, but I'm going to give you one example.
Really?
That they documented. So there's an incumbent. His name is Jose Javier Rodriguez.
Mm-hmm.
He lost to the Republican candidate by 32 votes. The Republican candidate is Elena Garcia. She is the founder of Latinas for Trump. Okay, so the first guy, Rodriguez, is the Democrat. Garcia is the Republican. But there was a third candidate, somewhat of a spoiler, in fact. And that person's name is Alex Rodriguez. So the first person, remember his name?
No, say it again.
Jose Rodriguez.
Got it.
The third candidate, the spoiler candidate, is Alex Rodriguez. Basically, he was promoted as a liberal with no party affiliation. None.
Okay.
And he received like just over 6,000 votes
No
in
way.
the election.
Really?
And the incumbent Rodriguez lost by 32 votes. And they've done this research. There is no Alex Rodriguez.
How can you?
I guess you don't have to show ID.
That's fun. So you're telling me I have to show ID to vote, but I don't have to show ID to who I am to run for office?
Yes. So basically,
No
through
way.
the investigation,
Oh
Jonathan,
my God.
in Florida, they said that there was a PAC, and that was
Oh my God.
the day before this person
incredible.
registered to run as a candidate. A PAC was created, and there was, I'm going to say, $50,000 put into this PAC's account.
So what?
And what it went for
Yeah.
was for 500,000 flyers for this person and one other candidate in a different election cycle. And nobody's ever seen a website for Alex Rodriguez. Nobody's ever met Alex Rodriguez.
Wow.
And they don't believe Alex Rodriguez
That's
exists.
when did this come out? What were they running
Well,
for
I got a
again?
text about it yesterday.
What position were they running for?
I have it right here.
Okay, tell
Let
me.
I pulled it up on the phone before
Because
we started.
you jumped to my conclusion of rotten boroughs before which I'll do next then instead of the economy.
Yeah, so so what a ghost candidate is a mysterious candidate that appears to run for office solely to take votes away from a competitor and make it easier for a third
But
candidate
how does
to
that
win.
person get on the ballot without proving that they're even a U.S. citizen, or assuming it's a requirement, or that they even live in the district? You don't. I mean,
You know what?
How does that work?
I don't.
So did they go back
know.
and redo
It was
the
in a
vote?
state Senate District 9. Well, no, that was a different one.
Okay.
But these are
It was for
state
Texas.
office.
It's
No,
for-
these are Florida.
I'm sorry.
In Florida.
This is for Florida State Office.
Yeah.
Is what I meant. Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Wow.
yeah.
That's incredible, Jackie.
Yeah, this person is saying, I didn't even know what he looked like until after the race, and investigative reporters tracked him down. Okay, so maybe he was a real person.
Oh, he was a real person? So
Yeah.
that would make sense, but they found someone with his name, with that name, and so that he could run for office
Yeah.
as a spoiler.
And the Political Action Committee sent out hundreds
it.
of
That makes
thousands of
sense.
dollars in mostly identical advertising mailers, making those candidates seem liberal.
That makes sense then. So there was a real person, but he had no intention of winning. He was there
And he
as
didn't have a
spoiler.
website.
Didn't have anything. He was just there as that makes sense. Wow.
But that's next level.
Oh yeah. That makes sense.
Manipulation.
Yeah, that makes sense now. Okay, so I have one for you then, which is something called rotten boroughs. This is kind of
Yes, do tell.
So rotten boroughs, I love that phrase. This is from the 17th century, the 1700s in the UK, in England. And basically what it was, it's what a constituency or a district. It's another word for that.
Mm-hmm.
But in the time it was called a borough. Was a parliamentary borough with a tiny electorate. In other words, it could have like 5 people in it. So small that voters were susceptible to control. For example, they could all be tenants for the manor.
Oh.
And if you don't want to be evicted,
Right.
you need to vote for this guy. And they were susceptible to control in various ways. The word rotten had the connotation of corruption as well as long-term decline. My favorite one of all, and here's some of these rotten boroughs. There was one called Dunwich in Suffolk, which had 32 voters and 44 houses. You know what the problem with this was? Most of this town had fallen into the ocean.
But this is in the 1700s.
Yes, but
Okay.
17 to 1800s,
Okay.
in the early 1800s. So that was my favorite. most people had actually no one actually lived there because the town had, I guess, through cliff erosion or something, had fallen into the ocean. But the point was they had the power to send people to Parliament, and this is, of course, in a time before women could vote, and it was really it was men, and if you were a landowner, you had to own land to be given the right to vote. So essentially, what made me think about rotten boroughs, we did this show on gerrymandering, which will be on Amazon hopefully soon. It's going through their quality control as we speak. And when they gerrymander these districts, I think another phrase for it is rotten boroughs.
Rotten boroughs. I like that even better than gerrymandering because it gets straight to the point. People like gerrymandering. Well, that doesn't sound horrible.
Yeah, so they gerrymander to the point where you can control who votes for you. I'll give you one example, then we'll move on. Many of these ancient boroughs elected 2 MPs. For example, 2 MPs were put into government in 1831 with the boroughs only had 88 people in them. So you could easily go to 88 people. 88 of the boroughs had less than 50 votes. So if you know that in your constituency there's less than 50 people,
you just go
talk to them and say, hey, would you
so in America, Jonathan, we had people called political bosses, right?
Yes.
Who controlled entire cities like Chicago, New York.
But don't you think, though, that we should be past that? I mean, if Parliament can enact a reform, which they did, they enacted some reform at some point, I've got it here, in the mid-1800s to get rid of it. You would have thought, here we go, the Ballot Act of 1872. That was the other thing, introduced the secret ballot. Before, you see, there wasn't a secret ballot, so you could see who voted.
So you could tell them whatever.
Exactly. So you would have thought by now, United States in 2020, could have figured out how to prevent.
We talked about this on the last show, where there's no sense somebody independent-minded going into Congress if Nancy Pelosi is going to tell them exactly what they have to do.
Yeah.
And the same goes with Mitch McConnell in the Senate. What is the point of having new ideas or a fresh take on things or your own opinions when your hands are tied and you do exactly what you are
otherwise
told?
You get, what is it, when you get...
censured or...
Someone comes up against you in your next...
Oh, yes, primary.
Primary, that's the word I was looking for. Yes, yeah, I get it. All right, so let's talk about really important stuff.
Okay, what?
The economy.
All right.
So did you see that 250,000 jobs were created in the past week? Right, the latest.
I did see that. I don't know how that works.
So, however, the number they were expecting was 433,000. So here's the point. Meanwhile, Congress has not spent any money. Trump's out worrying about his re-election. COVID is expanding. Millions of people are going without jobs. 3 million people have fallen out of the workforce. Can I just explain it quick? You want to hear a stupid factoid?
Always.
So this just shows how this is so when you count unemployment in America, which is currently at about rough numbers 7%. Yeah. The United States is one of the few Western countries that counts unemployment as people looking for a job. Okay. Most Western countries use a different formula. They count unemployment as people who have given up looking for a job.
Oh, all of the people who are actually unemployed.
Unemployed, but they've given up looking.
Yes. We don't count the people who give up or retire.
And 3 million, well, retirement's different, but 3 million people have fallen out of the workforce in the past since COVID started, right? March. 3 million. And we're not making enough jobs to help people. We know the cinema is not going to open, all that BS, right? So that unemployment number for the United States is actually not accurate because you should be counting the people who have given up. Yeah. And it means they want a job, but they just feel so lost that they can't do it. Yeah. So...
Well, there is going to be the next stimulus package, apparently.
Well, I was going to bring that up. Janet Yellen. What do you think of Janet Yellen? Do you know much about her? She's going to be she's the former Fed chair, and she was chosen to take the top cabinet position on the economy. She's going to be the next Treasury Secretary. That's the word I was looking for,
Okay.
Treasury. So she said that we need to have a massive stimulus.
Yes,
You agree with that, I'm sure.
I absolutely do. And it looks like Pelosi and McConnell are going to come together
Yeah.
like 800, 900 billion.
Which is nowhere near enough.
Okay, so Nancy Pelosi had the opportunity to take 1.8 trillion back in October, and she turned it down. She said she's willing to take this number now because once Joe Biden becomes president, there'll be another package. But she's making it sound like, yeah, this is fine. What is going on with you people? The last
agree
one
with
came
you.
out in March.
Yes, it's awful. I agree.
So 10 months later, and people
People are going hungry.
they're going
I've
hungry.
got
They're
it right
getting
here.
evicted. Honestly, Jonathan, like tomorrow, if you had to go get a COVID test, your free COVID test, where would you go?
Oh,
People are still trying to figure out where
yeah.
to go.
This is the thing.
And how to get it done quickly.
There's no national response. COVID places to get tested. Get a free mask. I mean,
And a lot of people go without it because it's not really free.
Yeah.
If you have symptoms, you have to see the doctor, so you pay for your doctor visit.
Just go get tested. It should be free. It shouldn't be. It
right.
should be a no-brainer.
You should just be able to walk up, grab a test, and now, granted, my son who's in Seattle, he says that's how it is. You want a COVID test, you just go anywhere. I mean, you go to a specific place. He knows exactly.
You don't
where
have to go to a
and it's free.
doctor's.
You don't have to go to a doctor.
I didn't know that. See, okay, so here's a question for you. Guess how many people didn't have enough food in the past week? What do you think? A number of adults.
It's shamefully high.
It is shamefully
all
high.
I can say.
26 million. So the number of adults in American households who sometimes or often don't have enough to eat in the past week, 12%.
And meanwhile, are we cutting people's benefits? Are we helping them?
A number of households with children,
Yeah.
16%. So, because I guess maybe the adults are giving the food to the kids. So, hopefully the children aren't going hungry, but we know they are. This is
And
despicable.
food banks don't have
and the food
funds.
banks, no.
Yeah.
The food banks in Houston in particular, more than 1 in 5 adults in Houston, 1 in 5, reported going hungry recently, including 30% of adults in households with children, which again tells me that the parents are giving the food to the kids.
And it's not just that people are starving. It's the food insecurity.
Correct.
They just don't know where they're going to get their next meal. They don't know how it's going to happen if they have to go to a soup kitchen, if they have to go to a food bank. And if you don't have a car,
Absolutely.
even if you went to a food bank, what are you going to do? Put it in your pocket?
And meanwhile, Trump's tweeting about an election which everybody in his heart and soul knows, even if he voted for him, knows he lost. And people are going hungry in this country. I just find it, Mr. Ted Cruz, John Cornyn, is despicable. And Stacey Dean, I got a quote here. She focuses on food assistance at the Center on Budget and Policy. She says, "I'm disappointed this lack of food hasn't broken through." And she says, "We are continuing to see people who have never used our services before." Here's the thing. You mentioned people on bikes, you know how you get food. So I felt really bad. I ordered some food to come, from Uber Eats or whatever, because one thing I do not do is cook, right? You don't want
Right.
me, I could do anything with an egg, but that's the extent of it, and I can microwave anything, but you don't want me cooking. So I ordered some food from a local Indian place, which is just down the drag near UT. And I've never seen this before. And if I'd make the name up, I don't remember the guy's name. Let's just call him Adam. So give Adam some time, it said on the app. He's on a bike. I was like, this guy's riding his bike. Now, it wasn't too far. It's probably a mile.
Right.
But it was raining.
Oh, goodness.
So I didn't realize.
Did you get that extra big tip on that
he's on
one?
a bike, but I tipped beforehand, right? I
Right.
tipped
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
beforehand. And I was like, and he shows up, and he's even taken a photograph, which he left it on the table outside, the table you can sit outside the front door. And I felt terrible.
No, don't feel terrible.
Because he
You
looks-
just gave him a job. You gave him a tip. He's happy to get it, and he may just only work the downtown area.
I'm sure
and
he
so
does. He
being
can
on
only
a bike is a great.
But my point
and
is,
who knows? This job could help him save to get a car.
I agree with
right?
that. I'm not, but again, I'm talking. What made me bring this up? This lady called Alonda Kravitz says we both lost our jobs. We started door dashing like 4 days ago.
And the gig economy has saved a lot of people.
But
I'm telling you.
But there's so many people out there hurting.
Yes, there is.
And
because if you live in a small town, there's nobody door dashing.
And I just exactly
or Ubering.
Yes,
or you can't.
Who's going to Uber now anyway? Particularly, right? And I just feel it's despicable. And he brought up Pelosi. She knew. At first, I was like, she's got to go.
All of them. They knew that fall was coming, winter was coming.
This is
they
awful.
They should have, in August and September, made something happen.
So,
and
I've got a Wall Street.
Because I think a lot of, we know right now, right? Everything is up on an upswing. On the way here,
it's not real.
I was listening to a podcast that said that Dallas is now at 50% occupancy. They went as of Friday.
Occupancy for what?
For restaurants.
Oh.
And for events.
Yeah.
50%. It's coming. It's coming to all of us.
You mean COVID?
COVID, just the restrictions. So we've been free as birds all summer.
We have in Texas.
We wanted to be able to go do things or sit outside at a restaurant, no problem. But come winter, it's gonna get worse. And we're this Thanksgiving ramping up, of the COVID cases.
Absolutely.
It's going to get worse.
And Trump said, "I'm going to make America great again." I've got a whole article which I won't go through because I really want to. There's what I wanted to bring up about Pelosi, by the way. Mm-hmm. I thought she was the right choice, even though I didn't want it particularly. Now
I applaud it, right?
Now I'm 100% convinced she's not the right person. 100%, she's not the right person. She doesn't help the Democrats. She's out of touch too. I totally.
Well, I think as Democrats right now, what our biggest issue is infighting.
No, they're useless.
Like, why? Even with Biden and his cabinet choices, they're not liberal enough. They're not.
No, I've been reading about that. Yeah. Are you disappointed in these cabinet choices? Then?
No, I'm saying I'm not. He's a centrist.
Yes,
he's a moderate.
He is a moderate.
His cabinet
He's not
should
a radical
reflect
socialist.
The policies and the person that he is, right?
Yeah.
If we had wanted AOC to be president, we would have elected her and her cabinet would reflect that.
Right.
That is not where America is. We are getting rid of one extreme radical president, and we are hoping for a calming, moderate.
I want it to be boring. Him. Just boring, please. I'll take boring.
Boring would be nice,
wouldn't it? but I just want to bring this up. There's not enough jobs being created. We know COVID's going to get worse before it gets better because I'm not an idiot, and I know you're not. We know this. This is realistic. This is realism.
And that means jobs are going to be lost.
Jobs are going to be lost. I will not come back.
Last week, Jonathan, in my business, was the slowest week I've had, like as far as my phone ringing and scheduling appointments since the shutdown.
Really? Oh, I didn't know that.
People are pulling back.
Yeah, they're nesting.
And it's gonna shut down again. I mean, not like the state of Texas isn't gonna shut down. The hot spots will, and that's the way it should be. But we also are gonna have to shut down the bars.
Yeah, God, why on earth is Abbott allowing the bars to be
because
open?
you can't totally make every bar go bankrupt.
No. You know what you do? This is why you have a plan, though.
Right.
You have a plan. The plan is we're going to shut down all the bars because we don't want to spread young people giving it to the older people because young people are going to go to bars and they don't care.
Honestly, I mentioned this to my children and they thought I was insane. I was looking for my mask.
Okay.
If you're a bar and you want people to come, but you don't want to get shut down, why wouldn't you hand them a mask with a straw in it or something
and say, mask with your name on it?
Yeah, like here's your mask, here's your straw, there's a hole in it. And I know it makes it hard for people to talk, but it just
but this is where government
be creative.
This is where government comes in, though. See, this is what Abbott should be doing. What he should be doing is say we're going to shut down the bars. And by the way, I don't think any governor's doing this, but this is where a federal response would help. most federal government, so most state governments are having a really hard time budgetary-wise, right?
Yeah.
They're going to run out of money. So the federal government should be handing out literally trillions of dollars to the states just to keep them in business.
Mm-hmm.
And with that money, the governor could go, you know what? I'm going to shut down the bars.
But I'm going to subsidize.
I'm going to subsidize them.
Yeah.
So that people,
any business you shut down,
any business that gets shut down
should be subsidized.
we're going to subsidize you so you can
Absolutely.
come back. When
or
it's,
any business that
Yes.
can't function normally.
Right.
Now, do we have to subsidize
exactly right.
the computer companies and the
No,
technology
no.
companies and the? No, we
but
really
the
don't.
small business.
But the businesses that are legitimately, whether it's a, I know we've talked about the retail businesses that are just
Decimated,
shutting
yes.
right and
Yes,
left, and
yeah.
it's the Steinmarts and the Pier 1.
Yes.
I just got an email
Pier 1, really?
yesterday. Oh, they're all gone already.
Have they really?
They're done.
I didn't know
They
that.
were the
Okay.
first to close. Steinmart just went out. Yesterday I got an email saying store closing, Bed Bath & Beyond.
Oh, wow.
Closing.
Okay.
And so and I was at another place that said, yeah, we're closing this store.
Yeah, and so again, and actually, it's funny you say that. The socialist newspaper that I read, the Wall Street Journal, did a whole article on how when GM closed this plant, that was one of the more efficient. This is again where it's despicable. So it's the Lordstown plant in Ohio, and then many people lost their jobs, obviously, and many of them became migrants. But give you an idea, in Ohio,
What do you mean by a migrant? Just move to other places
other
to find
states.
work?
Yes,
Sure.
yes.
Okay.
Here's the map.
Okay.
The reason I brought this up, and there's a whole article, I'm not going to go through it. Trump says we're going to make America great again, or that. So the number in Ohio, the number of employees in manufacturing just since 2000, so in 20 years, has fallen 35%. And the thing about the jobs, yes, you can say the gig economy can help people, but that doesn't make up.
No union.
That
there
doesn't
is no
make up for
insurance,
making exactly.
Yeah.
That doesn't make up for a good job at a General Motors plant.
Well, let me tell you, I did
That's
listen
where
to.
I don't
Speaking of General Motors,
Yeah.
by 2025,
Uh-huh.
they are going to be majority electric car vehicles.
So they say.
So they
Are
say.
you going to buy an electric? Oh, you own it. Yeah, that's right. Your car's made by IKEA. I forgot. That's right. You have an
Yes.
IKEA car. So yes, I will buy I plan on buying an electric car at some point.
Yeah.
Oh, don't get me off topic though. I'm on a
Oh,
roll.
sorry. Go,
No,
go,
it's
go.
all right. I'm on. We can wrap this up in a minute. I just want to bring this up. This is why using the GM one as an example or whatever. This is why the Democrats lost in many ways this election.
Yes.
They don't
But we
speak
need-
for these people.
Well, that's not true.
They don't speak
we
for those people.
need to get corporations on board with messaging because they are reinventing themselves at GM. They are going to lead America in electric vehicles.
I get it,
So we
but-
need to say we need to make our batteries here in America
Yes.
rather than in China. We need to make our solar panels here in America rather
And
than
Trump said all that,
when-
but he didn't
no-
do anything. That's the
well,
problem. You got to do saying it and doing it are two
got
totally different
to get
things.
the corporations on board doing it. Look, if we can get, did GM or 3M make all the respirators and the masks? If we can ramp up
I
that
get you.
quickly, we've got these pharmaceutical companies doing vaccines in record time, right?
they haven't been able to
so
figure out how to
where
distribute
there
them yet, but
is
yeah.
a will, we can make things happen. And this is whether it's the third revolution, the
But I guess what I'm saying,
instead of an industrial revolution, a technological revolution, we have the capability of creating good paying jobs. We just have to decide that we're not sending them to China.
we have to. The part of it, and I agree
And
with
they
you.
will be more expensive.
I agree with you 100%. But you need a government policy.
Yes, an
Saying,
incentive.
just saying I'm going to take on China or the infrastructure, none of which worked. Right? He's never
Right.
invested anything in infrastructure, which America.
That's the key.
Just saying it when Trump tweets even about the election, stand up Republicans, without actually doing anything, doesn't mean anything. And this is where I think Pelosi, Schumer, they sell-by data's gone. God bless him. Biden's not the right guy.
So do we have to look to the Senate and to the Congress for that sort of initiative, or do we hope that the entrepreneurial
No, you
spirit
need
of America, like individual companies, whether it's the Teslas or the Amazons, stand up.
You mean the Tesla that's building a plant here in Austin that pays $15 an hour for assembly?
Well,
mean,
see, that's what I'm
terrible.
saying.
That's terrible. $15 an hour? Oh my God, that's the starting salary of McDonald's.
It is.
It's pathetic. So
And that's why they came here, because we allow that sort of thing.
$15 an hour to be an assembly person at Tesla. Now I could be wrong. That's what I read.
I think
may have
jobs,
changed.
I think the jobs that are coming to Texas are predominantly 15 hours.
That's appalling. It's like my God. And then people say, well, we can't afford to pay more. Wait a minute. In the UK and Germany, where there are Land Rover and Porsches being made, those people make $50 to $80 an hour all in.
Well, and that was what was happening in Michigan as well.
But they are productive, profitable companies. You don't have to basically have people working for minimum wage to put a car together. It's beyond me. And this again, why I say the Democrats did it to themselves. I really.
Well, they can't get anything done. They can't even pass
$15
an hour minimum
But they
wage.
don't even talk about it, Jackie.
They talk.
really don't.
But
they don't force
they're
it.
being stifled.
But they don't.
Yeah.
I don't see that passion from Nancy or certainly from Joe. I get it. Joe's a stopgap. I get it. All right, I'm depressed now. No, I'm not depressed. It's Christmas.
No. Okay, can we end on a good note? I'm trying to look.
The good news is that someone did a solid for you.
Yeah.
And you're going to pay it forward.
Absolutely. I'm got my eyes peeled. I'm now looking for people who.
And I'm going to pay. I've tried to pay it forward, going into a risque apartment complex without any armaments.
Yes.
No, I'm joking. I'm actually joking. To be really candid, was it slightly run down with a few broken windows in these apartments, which did surprise me because I would have thought landlords would have fixed it. Yes.
Oh, Jonathan, you're so naive.
Did I feel unsafe? I did not. I didn't feel unsafe at all. It was fine. But it was a little bit of an eye opener. But again, we tried to do a good deed.
There you go. Well, you know what? You do need to see how the other half lives, because there's a reality out there.
I know.
That is
I agree
beyond
with you.
belief. Yeah.
And I think most of my Republican friends have forgotten, assuming they ever got to that point, what it's like not to have any money.
At a certain age, if you've become successful,
you forget.
You do forget.
So we'll end us on a happy note then. Do you have a happy note for us?
No.
Christmas? Have you done your Christmas shopping?
No.
Have you put your Christmas tree up yet?
I did. Okay, yes.
Okay,
yes,
you did that.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
I have got a happy tree, and that's probably the extent of it, because nobody's going to be in my house to see it but me.
All right, all right. Anything? I think we're finished then, right?
We can call this a wrap.
So because our producer forgot to set the timer, I don't know how long this went for, but
okay.
I've been keeping track.
It's under the 4 hour that we warned people.
57 minutes. Okay, so
okay.
I knew we'd have a lot to talk about this time.
Yes. Lots we didn't get to, so we'll have to get to it next time.
All right, well, listen, everybody, thank you for watching, and we'll be back very, very soon.
Have a good week.
Happy Christmas, as we say.